It was the 11th day of the second month of the year marked 2004, as the legionnaires prepared for war against the very comrades they adore, in search of the crown for which they vie. The 17 kingdoms of all the known world had sent only the brave to clash their swords and wield their glaives and paint the battlefield red to save the honor and duty they live by. Enemies by day and brothers by night, the lords and ladies gathered round the campfire light, and in the morrow would rise again to fight. For at Estrella war, it's always a good day to die.
To describe the SCA is almost beyond me some days.
I go to a different time in history every week.
Yeah, I grew up with the whole idea of Camelot, and here it is.
Kind of what I get up in the morning for. Of course, my wife would hate hearing that.
It's a fashion thing. We admit it, I guess, you know. We get to, you know, instead of talking football, we're going, oh man, how did you get that lace on there so nice? You know, is that silk or is that just, you know, velvet, you know, and that kind of stuff.
This is sort of what I always wanted to actually get to live. So I come here to avoid the fact that I'm a waitress.
You know, every once in a while I get to go home and say, you know, I got to kill someone today, and it was a duke or a knight.
Killed 20, died 8 times. Arr.
Let's go!
Come on! Hurry up!
We're out here to have a good time. It's war.
But the enemy is marching. We can see them cross the field. So we'll meet them in the heather with the clash of sword and shield.
And we'll march through the autumn, though the winds may howl and roar, and we'll fight to the last man till we push them to the shore. And the boys, they are all frightened, but the kingdom we defend.
So we'll meet them and we'll battle in the cold October wind.
The society is about 38 years old. It was formed in Berkeley, California in the 60s. It started out as a party in a lady by the name of Diana Paxton's backyard. She thought, hey, let's have a May Day celebration and a party and a medieval theme. And people came and dressed up in the clothes that they could make. And they got a couple of sticks and a couple of trash can lids and decided they were going to play around. And 38 years later, we have custom-made armor and weapons. We've expanded into 16 kingdoms all across the world. We have about, I think, 55,000 members worldwide.
And this is going to sound funny perhaps, but this is more real. The people that are here are reenacting for themselves. They are living this history because it's something that they believe in. It's not a performance for an audience of any sort, and it makes this very unique.
There's an incredible amount of stuff going on. We'll have heavy weapons fighting, or we're doing melees on the battlefields here, and over in the broken fields they'll have archery, they'll have rapier fighting, they have court dancing, there'll be cooking, and in the evening there'll be dancing, Middle Eastern dancing, there's Western dancing, people having fun, reveling.
For me, it's going back in time and yet not all at once, you know. We've grown societally from the Middle Ages. We no longer, you know, have all the bad things, but We have some great things. We treated each other with respect. We said good day to everybody as we walked by, and we do that now. We help each other, no matter if we know them or not. And it's an amazing feeling.
The SCA is really a fantastic place in that it brings together a lot of people that have a strong ideological belief. There's a sense of community and a sense of dignity that pervades the SCA that is really quite wonderful.
I mean, yeah, we're a little different. You're going to find all walks of life, though. You're going to have the guy who's, Super Duke so-and-so, and mundanely wise, he's night clerk at Circle K. You're going to have the same guy running around here who just enjoys being out, hanging out. He could be a lawyer for one of the top companies in the world. You'd never know it.
I have worked multitudes of jobs. I've been an urban professional in a suit and tie. I've been a production manager for manufacturing companies, and all of that was unfulfilling, unrewarding. I passed up a $75,000 a year job to do this for a living. This is real. This is what it's about. We get to live every day and enjoy what we're doing every day. And who cares about the rest of it? The money's not important. Ask anybody around here how important money is in their lifetime. That's not what it's about. This is what it's about. Meeting people, relating to people, living the life that we are so connected to in so many ways. And whether that's through a Middle Eastern persona or a European Celtic persona or whatever it may be.
Most people pick a particular historic time period and culture that they're really interested in, and they'll develop a persona of someone who could have lived in that time period. You aren't allowed to be any historical person or actually a fictional character like from a book, but other than that, you can be pretty much anybody you want to be.
I am His Excellency the Baron Otto Langenhirsch von Baden, Thane of Atenvelt, Thane of Iskathir.
Lord Jonathan von Schwarz-Oberfleck.
Baldric Balbarian Boulderbane.
Sarka Ingen Mickengowan.
Philippe de Tournai. I'm a 15th century courtier in the court of Avignon in southern France.
9th century Varangian Guard out of the Byzantine Empire.
I represent a 3rd century Gothic warrior, fall of Rome era.
My time frame is just shortly after the Viking raids and when the Vikings became traders and traveled all of Europe and traded with the people they hadn't killed or otherwise mutilated.
I'm a Native American persona. I do Iroquois, half Viking breed, because I'm mostly white, so however, I feel that all cultures should be represented, and I am proud to represent the Native American people on the field of battle today and every day. It's a good day to die.
Why I chose pirates? There's a part sometimes you think it chooses you. People always like to say I was always kind of like that. Everyone in the SCA will say that sort of thing, and it's kind of true. We're all hopeless romantics and fantasizers. The SCA supports and nurtures that.
Well, my name's Gargamon Austenite. I've been in the SCA for 14 years. I was originally His Lordship Gunner's son's best friend, and that's how I got into the pirate camp. Lord Gunner's our shipmaster. Had a fairly unremarkable career until about 3 years ago when we mutinied and I became the captain.
Come aboard!
I feel compelled to share with you the pirate alphabet. Spelling isn't period, of course, and most people in our time period didn't know how to read anyway. So we had to teach the crew a very simple rudimentary alphabet, and it consists of A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes
Y. And of course,
but
there's
never T.
Yeah.
T.
How can you forget R?
was born on the list field, I was raised in the war, and one day they did make me a knight. Though one day my sword may grow rusty and dull, I will live by my oath till I die. All through the night and retired to a farm, said his king, he no more will be called. But honor and duty this knight he knew well, and so to his king he sang.
This day do I render homage and fealty to my sovereign Lord King of Atendel, who is from this day onward my liege lord. I will remain in all ways his true servant, serving faithfully and endeavoring ever to prove myself worthy of the noble title of knight. This I do swear by my sword, belt and chain.
This I do swear by my sword, belt and chain.
So say I.
So say I.
My name is Joel McRae. In the society, I am now known as Sir Morgan Crusadine Claymore. I was involved in the SCA since I was born. Both of my parents were involved. Prior to that, they met inside the SCA and were playing this game for about 10 years before I was born. For 23 years, my dream is to become a knight of this group. At least that's my dream in this group. It's the epitome of honor, chivalry, and grace. And yesterday on the field, I was awarded with that title so that I could be a representative to the other kingdoms throughout the known world, is what we call the group that we have that spans across the multiple countries. It would be an example of this kingdom to all of the other places so that they would see what people from Arizona, from Atenvelt, are like and how they act in the face of all of the people that can be watching.
This new knight, wearing his father's spurs, shall henceforth be known as Sir Morgan Claymore.
I am Otakte, Ogni Wanagi. I am the spirit of strikes many. I've been accepted into the Order of Chivalry, which is an order of peerage, and been granted the right of arms as a knight of the realm, and with all the responsibilities that fall therein. So I've received the last unanswered blow, the buffet, and now I'm a knight of the realm.
My lords and ladies, pray silence for the opening court of their majesties.
Every 6 months there's a tournament, and we fight armored combat, and it's real life martial arts. It's not scripted or choreographed, and it's a double elimination, one-on-one tournament. And the victor of that tournament becomes king for 6 months, and the person he fought for becomes queen. But we have had women fight and win in their own right, so they're in charge, and they've had a man as their consort.
As a monarch, I'll be one of the first people that a lot of new people would look to as an example, and that's when people talk about the burden of the crown. That's the one I feel the most heavily. People will see the good things I do, but the things that they'll remember the most will be the bad. So it's very difficult to always be in the public eye. It's in some ways it's more tiring than the fighting.
The main job for us is to inspire the troops, and pretty much like the team captain on a sports team. You get everybody going and lead them into battle, sometimes from the front, sometimes from the rear, depending on what scenario it is.
On the battlefield,
We rocked.
I was lucky enough to see the sea of green driving their enemy before them beneath their boots. maniacal laughter. That was a great feeling, and I look forward to it again today.
When you see great acts of bravery, great acts of endurance, whatever they may be, let your kings know that we can recognize these people. For without these sort of great acts, we're just a bunch of people running around crazy. But when we have people like this, we are an army, and a great army at that.
Huzzah!
Elric.
For the Guardians of Aiden! Hip hip! Huzzah! Hip hip! Huzzah! Hip hip! Huzzah!
I was speaking to the king himself, and I said, Your Majesty, brave and bold man that you are, how will we have battle? How will we win this day? He said, last night, Count Pontius, last night Christ himself came to me, and he spoke in a whisper, and he said, victory would be ours. Is it true? I said, yes. And I need no more than that, for I know now victory is ours. Great day, lads. Great day.
Guys, move through this opening slowly and cleanly and then take off at a dead run. I want you no more than 4 men wide.
Hey, Ron, before you land.
Yes. What do we have?
We're going to use that point. Really just want to stop.
Yes.
Okay? And then if they get stood up, we're going to stand here because I don't want to go around that corner.
No.
So we're going to stay here.
Right.
If they penetrate, we're going to roll around the corner.
Here it is. I want you guys on this side or this side. I do not want you out here.
I don't want to stand right here next to it.
Yeah.
I'll be out here.
Right.
I'll send a couple of my cowboys in that little gap right there.
Right.
Okay?
Bingo. Gotcha.
Where did I put my stuff?
I don't know. I need to find mine.
That last hold, we were lined up across from these guys and they were about 2 deep on the far left side.
I was there.
And then all of a sudden, I look over, there's about 10 pikemen standing there that weren't there before. What happened with that?
It's exactly what we like to do.
That's right.
Suicide
Squad,
baby.
Take
as many as you can. We're no good at standing on the line and being a shield wall. We got to rush in. We got to die gloriously.
It looks serious, so we needed to help take care of it.
It's an adrenaline rush like nothing else. I've done a lot of other contact sports and things, and this is the biggest adrenaline rush you'll find anywhere. And there's a lot of camaraderie too. Everyone out here is your friend, sort of thing. And you know, not many places you can go and find that many people you get along with all in one place.
Sword and board. Normally I'm in the shield wall for Droffin. Love the crunch. It's real fun when you get in the dog pile and everybody's crashing up. Swords are swinging, glaives and maces, but shield wall. We're a solid unit. We're a bulldozer on the field, and they fear that big red shield with the black Droffin. It's fun. It's
I
really
like killing
fun.
people, but I don't want to get hit. I bruise easy. I don't want to get hit.
I just love the fight. It's good. The camaraderie, even after like this morning's battle.
You're just waiting to break a bone. You want a broken bone. You
No.
want a concussion.
No, the fighting
He's
was.
so proud of every little bruise and mark he gets.
It's fun. Big boys' toys. Big boys' toys. You used to be able to slay the dragon with your plastic sword at home. Now we actually go out, fight hard, beat the other person, and then go out and have some drinks with them afterwards and laugh about it. It's good. This is a wonderful life.
Everyone has fought well, but you need great leadership. You can fight well, and if you all fight individually, we still get beat. You can have great leaders, but if people don't fight great, we still get beat. But we had it all today and yesterday. We've had great warriors, we've had great leadership. Thank you, gentlemen, and pass that on to your men. Now, just because we've already won the majority of the battles, let's wrap it up and finish it the way we started it.
Huzzah! Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the queen! Long live the sovereign lands of Aidenville!
Why do I fight? I don't fight, I play. I play, and not just in the role-playing thing, but if you look at it as fighting, then you're encountering aggression. You don't need to become aggression. You don't have to receive the aggression and become it to overcome aggression. You can maintain your personal honor and self-respect as a gentle person and deal with it intelligently and walk away unharmed psychologically as well as physically. You can protect more confidently that which you admire most. So, that just happens to go hand in hand with swordplay, you know.
We fought mighty battles this day, and we did sweep the field. The armies of Artemisha and Caid were invading, and our neighbors of Aidenville did call to arms that we could come and help them defend the lands, and so we did rally. And we did sweep the field and repel the invaders. But being good fighters of the SCA all, we do sit down afterwards for a drink and a libation and a hearty huzzah. For it is the glory of the fight and the joy that we bring to the battle that makes the most difference.
Under the shield wall, it's a place to be. With my lady beside me, willingly. Under the shield wall. Where is under the shield wall. Like I rode right under the shield wall. Full of scratching above. Under the shield wall. We'll be making love. Under the shield wall. Shield wall.
Oh Lord, nightlife is generally pretty good. I love drumming. I'm sure you guys, if you guys been out here at night, you guys have heard the drumming and you've probably gone around and seen the dancing. I don't know. I got involved with the house way back when I first started that was really into drumming, and ever since then I hear drums and it just it makes me want to move. I'm not much of a dancer, but you know, I'll get up there and I'll just kind of rock with the beat. It's a great deal of fun.
For the hundreds drinking in attendance and the million drinking around the world, Schadenfreude, let's get ready to stumble!
I'd have to say that what we recreates the medieval times, and that isn't necessarily always what modern society would like to think medieval times were all about. But this comes down to the raw reality of life. We look at things from the basic perspectives, and we value the basic values.
To live how our forefathers lived, to experience their lives, to experience what they went through for us, to give us these memories, to share their lineage, their heritage, their country, their dirt. They gave it all to us to relive for them in their honor and their memory, because every one of us has some destiny from across the ocean, all of us.
Up here is I relax from what I do every day. You know, I don't have to worry about government. I don't have to worry about politics. You know, where my rent's coming from. You know,
well,
whether or not I can pay the. Huh?
None of it exists here.
No. None of we.
You know,
usually,
your car doesn't exist. Your job doesn't exist. Your computer doesn't exist. What exists is who we are and what we are doing, and everything that is a normal life, you know, is not here. We don't talk about cars or, you know, my car broke down, my wife left me. You know, that's not what we're here.
And that's really,
and so you have to really only deal with what you know here and the people here. And the people are all it's about. You know, nothing else really matters than the people.
This is my living. When I come down here and I open up my tent for merchanting, this is a day at the office. This is a day at the office.
Exactly. You're lucky like that. You're one of those people that got to find a niche in the SCA.
No, it's not a matter of luck.
Skill and talent.
No, it's a matter of determination.
Yes.
I started this business 6 years ago with $1,000.
Wow.
I took $1,000, I bought a $65 Walmart tent and as much merchandise as I could buy, and I set up at a local event and I went, okay, well, let's see if we can do anything. And we went through rain and snow and wind and heat and sun, all of it in 2 days, and we made $500. And we were like, cool, we survived, we made money.
And
let's do it again.
Slowly make the exactly,
oh, yeah.
You can do that.
Well,
you don't give up your mundane life immediately.
Well, no, we started with a 10 by 10 tent. We now have a 15 by 21 tent.
Oh my.
And a 2,000 square foot store.
Oh wow.
I have quit a
Huzzah.
$30,000 a year job. My lady has quit a $40,000 a year job.
Wow.
And you want to know what? We're not making much money.
But you're loving it.
We're loving it.
I think everyone should have a good hobby.
The funny one in
That's
the
what keeps you busy.
SCA, you don't know what anybody does for a real living.
It doesn't matter what they do.
Doesn't matter what they do. I mean, they could be a lawyer, a doctor, or they could be a bum on the street. And it doesn't make any difference. They could be the king and still be a bum on the street when they
A carpet layer
walk
like
away.
me could be the king of the SCA if that's what I so
Yeah, what you
choose. If
choose.
that's the route
Yeah.
I had chosen to go, I could be king in the SCA. I could be a king.
I'm
I could
king
be a
of the
bear.
world!
Who will join us and bid us for to fight? Who brave the danger and who will die tonight? His child and lover, his sword and spear you grasp. Your anger lethal like venom from the asp. Steeped inside you and show you what a man that rage the fire and join the army's van. Come will you join us or will you run in fear? Come lead among us and join our victor's cheer. Come walk with us, come fight with us, invade us for to slay. Take up your arms, take up the call tonight in hell they'll lay. Come walk with us, come fight with us, invade us for to slay. Take up your arms, take up the call tonight in hell they'll lay.
I'd like to think that I was always a member of the SCA, I just didn't really know it. I enjoy the opportunity to develop the ideals of chivalry and courtesy that we all aspire to, and bring that out into the modern age. I like to think that chivalry is not a switch. You know, once we leave this behind, we pack up the pavilions and go home, we get out of garb and we go back to our normal life. We should try and continue to act the same way. It's not really something that we act out here, it's a code of behavior, and it should really change.
But it's the focus around purpose in terms of historical education. And I think it's that historical education that you cannot better yourself or your society without learning and educating yourself with regards to your past. If you don't learn from the past, you can never advance your future. And one of the things that I've learned here relative to historical perspective is where to go as a society. We've become very impersonal as a society, and looking back into a time in which we look to your fellow man who lived next door, or maybe even lived in the next town to support you. In today's society, we look to the internet, or we look to people we don't even maybe know the name of to fill that bill, and it's not nearly as personal and important.
How we all work together as a group of team members and friends, and we treat each other with respect and dignity, and you don't find that in the real world anymore. And here I am accepted for who I am. I do not have to change to fit anybody. I can be me. It's the most amazing thing on the planet.
In normal society, material things are so incredibly important. People care what kind of car you drive. People care how big your house is. They care about things that are essentially quite material. But in the SCA, it's the ideological that we epitomize. It's the people's actions count for so much more. People's beliefs and how they embody them are what make people noteworthy in the SCA.
I believe that there are some of us who, for one reason or another, honorable people find this compulsion to gather together because we don't find that same sense of honor and community in the mundane world.
And you don't see people walking up and just opening a door for anybody anymore. They just walk into the door. But around us, we will walk up to that door and just open it and let everybody through before us, because that's just the way we believe it. And I think anybody that grows up in the society has that same type of ideal and mentality.
It's really good for her because she's learning how to relate to all sorts of people. She's learning to rely on herself, to live in conditions that aren't typical, comfortable, middle class, suburban life, and it makes you strong, resilient and intelligent, and I think that she'll do really well in the world with that kind of upbringing.
And would that I could tell her why I dare not speak my love too high as far as any star. Her station is too mine, too wide that space to ever embrace beneath her airy pine.
If all you want is company and feel like you're part of something, even if you don't know anybody that's here, you can walk up to somebody very quickly and become friends and family with them.
I have friends here that I'm going to be friends with the rest of my life. I mean, I'm going to die, and these are people these are going to be people at my funeral.
Now, when you come and travel to these lands, come and meet the people, understand that they are only coming back to ask for the one thing that we miss in our lives. We miss the meat of the tongue, the conversation as we sit around the fires. That is really what the SCA is about. In modern day, people get in their cars and they drive for hours and they work with the same 5 or 6 people, and then they turn around and come home and they meet the same 5 or 6 people. We as human beings have spent 40,000 years gathered around fires, telling stories. It is what made us human.
My friend Sir Tiernan actually was knighted that day, and he was in command of our side. And he looked up and said, "Bjorn, go up there, stop those charges." And I said, "Okay." And I jumped up there, and I stood there by myself, and the first charge came in, and I countercharged it and stopped its progression. Just for about a second and a half, and they picked back up and started moving. But I diverted them right off into our spears, and our spears ate them up, took them out. Next charge came through. I, once again, countercharged into it, stopped its progression. Our spears ate him up. I got a couple of kills in there. I did this 5 times in a row before they managed to kill me. And it was like standing there, unmovable, and just stopping hordes of people all at once. I felt for that, it must have only been like a minute period of time, in life. It seemed like it lasted forever for me. I felt invincible.
I was a skinny little dork in high school, and I'm a bigger, skinnier, meaner dork now, but but now I'm a pirate and I'm surrounded by 23 people that in the mundane world I could walk up to at 2 o'clock in the morning if I was stranded, freezing and naked, knock on their door, and every single one of them would give me something to wear, feed me, and give me a place to sleep.
Let me tell you, you're surrounded by Dungeons and Dragons, geeks, Star Wars nerds, internet nerds, computer techno losers that are jerking off to ElfQuest in their parents' basement. And you know what? None of them realize that they're a bunch of badass motherfuckers. This is a martial art where you can sit there and fight full contact, full speed, multiple times a week, every week, all year round, and it turns you into a badass. And nobody really realizes that here. They don't realize that I was sitting at a bar the other night with 7 of my friends, and they were all fighters, and they're all about my size. And we're getting a bunch of stares from a bunch of hicks hanging out at the bar, and we realized that, you know what, we're a bunch of expert martial artists that are trained to fight as a group, that are used to fighting full contact, full speed. We can clear this whole place out in 30 seconds. And all these dorks don't even know it. And that's the best part, is because they're not bullies. They're not the guys that push them around in high school. We've become far more than that. We're militant geeks, and I love it.
Get in the ghetto!